Hiya Paul, welcome back to the Propagandist channel. It's time to continue on with our retrospective non-blind Let's Watch of RWBY Volume 3. So, last time of course we were looking at some of those World of Remnants once again, did another 4 of those across a variety of topics including obviously like the Maidens, CCT for instance, among other things. So we got a bit of background world building lore, that kind of stuff, so that was good. But now of course we are going to continue on with Volume 3 as normal. And of course, in particular, we're now getting to Chapter 7. So, this is of course the moment now, well, I say this is the moment, really it was last chapter that was the moment, Chapter 6, but, we're really getting into that stage of RWBY now where the show is going through that kind of tonal shift. It's not going to be as cheery and light-hearted as it was, particularly in Volumes 1 and 2, but now it's going to take that slightly darker direction. And I'm looking forward to actually watching it all again, because it's been a while since I last watched Volume 3, and I mentioned obviously with Chapter 6 with the Yang versus Mercury fight how even though I knew how that was going to play out since I'd seen it before, I still felt my heartbeat starting to really speed up. Still started to feel a bit tense watching it. So if I felt like that during that particular scene, who knows how I'm going to feel as we get through towards the end of this volume, but that's still a couple of chapters away yet. But yeah, Chapter 7, obviously from what I remember, this is mainly a flashback episode. It is centred around Cinder and her crew, sort of showing how they basically got together, and then it shows, of course, the Four Maiden and what happened to her. So this was, yeah, I mean, if Chapter 6 obviously starts to set the the groundwork for that tonal shift in the franchise, then Chapter 7 is the first episode that really kind of brings that across in terms of much of the episode being very dark in its tone. So got that to look forward to. Now, as of when this video goes out, ladies and gentlemen, I did a bit of calculations. I believe it will be the new year. Now, I am recording this way in advance, to put it that way. It is, screw it, I'll date the video. It's 7th of December as of when I'm recording this, but it will probably be early January, if my calculations are correct, by the time this video goes out. So I'm planning on recording at least this episode, but also ideally if I can another one, just to ensure that I have sufficient propagandist content to keep the channel going into early January, because obviously, as I've said before, over the Christmas period I will be visiting friends and family back up north for at least a couple of weeks, and therefore I'll be away, unable to record. So I just need to make sure I have sufficient content to keep both this and my strategist channel going in the meantime. So very much block recording is in full swing at the moment for both channels. When I get the opportunity, particularly it being a weekend right now, these last couple of weekends of mine have just been me sat in my apartment just hammering out recording after recording after recording. So yeah, like I say, a couple of recordings hopefully for Propagandist, because what that means is I'll have a couple of videos for January pre-recorded, because of course by January I'll be back down south, back in my apartment, able to record again. So yeah, I'll have a chance then to start recording the next Volume 3 episode. So yeah, this probably will be my final recording session for Propagandist, specifically RWBY Volume 3 of 2025. My next recording session will therefore be in January 2026. Unless I get a free moment, say next weekend, just to maybe hammer out one more Propagandist episode or something like that. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I anticipate the next couple of weekends before I travel are going to be very busy in the sense of me just recording a crap ton of content and all that. So yeah, you're watching this in January, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year, ladies and gents. If you've got any New Year's resolutions, well, you can share them in the comments if you want to. Does anyone ever keep New Year's resolutions? I feel like they don't and all that. But I suppose my New Year's resolution for Propagandist probably is keep the RWBY content going, ideally if I can, because the problem with Propagandist, this channel, is that there are sometimes periods where I just don't have chance to work on it or to upload anything to it, and so it feels like for months on end sometimes in the past it's gone without any sort of videos uploaded onto it, and then suddenly I get time, and then suddenly I have a whole flurry of videos week after week like I've been doing these last few months with the Retrospective RWBY Let's Watch. But yeah, for Propagandist, New Year's resolution will very much be me trying to actually make more content for it. And not just RWBY content, but also maybe other non-RWBY content for Propagandist as well. I need to check Lackadaisy, in fact, to see if they've uploaded anything over the last couple of months, anything that might be worth reacting to. As well as that, you know, I've always wanted to get back to doing anime reviews on this channel, because I have a load of anime DVDs that I bought that just look vaguely interesting to me over the last year, and I've just never had a chance to get to watching them, so I kind of want to do that, ladies and gents. And who knows, maybe other content on Propagandist, not necessarily anime related stuff, could also be an option, depending on how I feel. So, yeah, that's my Propagandist New Year's resolution, which I'm making now in 7th of December, even before New Year's is upon us and all that. But yeah, that's probably enough guessing from me, ladies and gentlemen. Let's actually just get to Chapter 7. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are on the Chapter Select screen. I just want to say something very quickly. This is a really random point to make, but if I just turn the volume here way up, you just listen to those sound effects, birds and things. I assume that must be some publicly available, royalty-free nature sound effect, that, of those birds trilling, because I feel like I've heard that in so many other video games that I've played. For example, Return to Castle Wolfenstein, over on my Strategist channel. Like I say, and that game came out in 2001, so I don't know, just those birds trilling. Like I say, I feel like I've heard those exact sound effects before and other stuff, but like I say, they're probably royalty free, right? Or, you know, they're probably just sort of like an asset that you can get from animation asset stores or video game asset stores or whatever. And I know it's a really random point to suddenly pick up on, but I've never noticed it before. But yeah. Right. Chapter 7, ladies and gentlemen. 3, 2, 1, go. So, oh.
A beautiful ring.
I forgot. There's no credits to open this one.
To be feared.
What? Impossible! What did it...
I want to be powerful.
Someone call the police!
How did she do that?
How did you do that?
Do like the design of old Vale. Just the cityscape around them.
Of course,
Sort of admiring.
I want them to hear you.
What do you want?
I've already told you. And I don't like repeating myself.
I didn't do anything. Just leave me alone.
I know my fair share of liars and thieves. Stealing is an art of patience, coordination, and in a pinch, sleight of hand. But you didn't steal that ring in your pocket. You took it right before the jeweler's eyes. And he smiled.
Who are you?
I am the character who will be progressively hated right across the franchise.
Question everything you know.
This is impossible.
I wish to take on an apprentice.
He lives in the mountains with his son.
Follow me, and you'll never be hungry again.
Thank you.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking for Marcus Black.
There you go.
Daddy-O's dead.
That's the assassin?
And you're his son. We saw your fight from the tree line. He's taught you well.
Guess so.
What's your name?
Mercury.
Mercury. Tell me, are you anything like your father?
So what's in it for me?
We don't need him. Everything was going fine. Ugh!
Do not mistake your place.
My dad always said, if you need to know a city, ask the rats.
Well, hello, gorgeous.
There's your boy,
So,
Roman.
Let me get this straight. You could have gone to anyone for help. You...
Just going to pause there. I don't know why, by the way, on the timer it says that we're an hour and 25 minutes in. Must be for some reason counting the other chapters there. But I was going to say as well, it is interesting when you watch this episode because obviously this doesn't really fill you in on Cinder's backstory. That's something that you don't really get until Volume 8. But sorry, just as I was talking there, I suddenly just felt gas coming up my throat from my teeth. It was like I was burping and talking at the same time. How very uncouth. What was I going to say? No, I was saying this episode obviously more than anything tells us about how Cinder's crew formed, how they got together. And it's curious because, you know, you have someone like Emerald, for instance, who, as this episode basically shows, she was pretty much, you know, what you call kind of a street rat, a thief. And, you know, beyond that, we don't really know anything, do we, about Emerald's past, beyond the fact that, well, assuming by what we see here that she was a thief and quite possibly, you know, a bit of a street urchin, to put it that way. That sounds really, that's such a weird term to use. That sounds like I'm, you know, I've just stepped off a time machine from the Victorian era. You know what I mean? But yeah, so there's that sort of question I always think is interesting when you think about a character like Emerald. Why would she throw her lot in with Cinder? And I guess, you know, it's a combination of things, because you heard there, for example, Cinder say you'll never go hungry again. So on the one hand, Cinder has a carrot that she can offer, which is stability, but at the same time she also has the stick, and she is quite abusive towards Emerald, as you heard, with the whole, you know, do not mistake your place, and the fact that by the sound of it she kind of slapped her. But yeah, that's probably why, you know, someone like Emerald does stick around with someone like Cinder, because she's kind of, you know, confused and looking for some kind of stability, and Cinder, as bad as she is, kind of offers that. And I suppose, you know, it's just, I mean, that's what kind of happens with a lot of abusive relationships in real life. You know, you ask yourself, why does the victim stay so long with the person who's abusing them? Because maybe, you know, as they see it, they have no alternative, or at least they perceive they have no alternative. They can be very obviously confused and not entirely sure what to think, because, you know, they've been gaslit and manipulated for so long that they can't really, you know, they feel like they can't think straight anymore, which is exactly, you know, what abusers want people to think and all that. But yeah, no, just thought it was an interesting point about Emerald and Cinder's relationship and how they, you know, came together and all that. 3, 2, 1, resume.
Made a deal with a gang leader.
Right, it's our favourite White Fang leader.
That had strayed from their
Sarcasm.
righteous path. But instead, you choose to seek an audience with me.
You're the one we need. Your skill, your ability to lead those beneath you. You're an exceptionally valuable man, Adam. And we've put a lot of thought into...
Then you're clearly not thinking straight. If you truly understood me, then you would know that coming here was a mistake. The White Fang is not an organization for hire. We're a force of revolution.
I believe that
look between them two.
beneficial for all parties involved. I have an associate in Vale. He and I are working on a revolution of our own, but we can't do it without your forces. We need...
What you need is to leave. You are asking my men to die for your cause. A human cause. That is not an idea I am willing to entertain.
Very well.
So this, of course, is just taking place before the Black trailer, wasn't it? This scene.
What was that about?
Nothing. We need to finish preparing. The train will be here at dawn.
That's interesting, though, because... sorry, I'm pausing again. You know, I remember when I first saw that scene, I thought, does that technically mean that Blake has already seen Cinder and company before? And if so, you know, surely she would recognise them. But obviously no. I think what is meant to have happened there is that if she did see them, she only saw them from the back, and therefore doesn't recognise them in that sense. But furthermore, I would sort of imagine that, you know, by the time Blake appears in that scene, the implication is that Cinder and crew have already walked out of sight into the forest, so she wouldn't have really seen them anyway. She'd have just known that Adam was having a conversation with 3 random strangers. Hence why, you know, at no point does Blake seem to recognise them in Volume 3 and all that. At least that's how I always interpreted it. But yeah, 3, 2, 1, resume.
So now what?
There's another task we must attend to. Remember the plan. Exactly as discussed. Not a foot out of place.
Yes, let's go murder an innocent woman. Or try to, anyway. Okay, so once again, listen here, I think, for Emerald's sound effect. Her semblance triggering the sound effect that it makes. I think I just heard it then. The sound effect, yeah. I think. Did I just hear it then? Mm-hmm. And here we go. Roast his legs. This was another really awesome fight sequence, this. I mean, irrespective of how it turns out. Because it was very dramatic. And the stakes were very high. Based on everything we've learned over the last episode. It just was very well, well, it was the word, not choreographed, but you know what I mean. Put together, this fight sequence. And there's Emerald's semblance sound again. It's interesting there that the illusions, or rather the invisibility that Mercury and Cinder were using there is fading in and out. Because Emerald, I think, does struggle to cast an illusion that affects, you know, people in such a way where it's a big illusion to make it. Does that make sense? That sounds garbled, what I just said. You're going for the wrong target, girl. Should be going for Cinder.
Huh?
Ooh. wonder who the voice actress who played Amber was. I mean, obviously we'll find out at the end of the volume, but she did do a good job. Interesting there how Cinder's face is sort of shimmering. Again, Emerald, I think, was hiding her identity. Because people always ask, you know, how come Crow didn't recognise them at any
The
point?
huntsman severed the connection before it was complete. Yes, it's an emptiness,
But he wouldn't have done because Emerald was
burns.
hiding them.
like hunger. I like it. Yes. I will claim what is ours. Thank you.
We'll find her, sir. I swear on my life.
Forget it. It's time I return to Mistraland.
You were talking about Blake just then.
What is this?
We could have gone to anyone for help, but we chose you, Adam Taurus.
I just noticed all those White Fang dudes in the background.
Our plan
Technically,
will
you're
be
still
beneficial
moving.
for both of us,
She didn't actually kill them, she just incapacitated a lot of them.
or one of us. So, which will it be?
You have little choice in the matter.
Yangzhou North wins!
Yeah, you did it, sis!
There's not going to be a next time, Blondie.
Yangzhou Long, stand down!
Ah! My leg! My leg!
Please, somebody help him! Can you do something?
We need to get this boy to a hospital. Grab a blanket.
You don't understand. He attacked me, I swear!
Stow it! You've already caused enough of a scene.
Oof.
Here, we've got an ambulance ready to go.
A fake ambulance, yes.
Hope they'll be okay. That girl won't leave his side.
We'll take good care of both of them.
You're acting suspiciously there, Cinder.
Doc, tell me, will I ever walk again? Ow! What's your deal?
Headache. One mind I can handle, but two is a stretch.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
you all performed marvelously.
It's strenuous for her. Hello, Neo. Not seen you for a while.
So, you think it worked?
A terrible tragedy took place this afternoon during the one-on-one rounds of the Vital Festival tournament.
I don't know what Beacon's headmaster's teaching his students, but that was disgraceful. Completely uncalled for.
Despite Atlas reinforcements, local authorities are still calling on any available huntsman to aid in suppressing the spike in grim activity.
Hey, I was watching that.
Shut up!
Is this how you treat a patient?
You know,
Ow! Too tight!
I'm just going to pause there. That news report, the very end, where it talked about the spike in grim activity and how, you know, it said, and I might paraphrase this slightly, but despite Atlas reinforcements, the authorities are still calling on any available huntsman or huntress to provide assistance. You know, it's interesting, because that right there is your hint that the Atlas military are not anywhere near as strong as they're cracked up to be. Because that was the thing, wasn't it? You know, the debate within the fandom with Volume 7 and 8 about, you know, should they have just gone with Ironwood's plan originally? The idea being that the Atlas military will somehow just protect everyone. Well, no, this was your hint right here that the Atlas military may not be capable of actually handling the threats that it's supposed to be dealing with. Because, you know, the implication of that statement in that news report is, despite the, you know, the fact that you've got those military reinforcements, this grim activity is so big that even they are struggling to contain it and all that. Yeah, it's just a quick digression and a point. Because I think I said, didn't I, in my reaction, was it to Volume 7, when Ironwood outlined his whole plan about, you know, using Amity Coliseum to create a beacon that informs the world of what's going on. And yeah, I mean, eventually, obviously, Team RWBY do go with that in Volume 8, because they realise that, you know, that might be the thing that they have to do, even though they were against it in Volume 7. But, you know, a big part of Ironwood's plan there seems to be, you know, oh, we'll just use our military strength to protect ourselves from the panic that ensues, to insulate ourselves from, you know, the inevitable spike in grim activity. But it's funny, because I remember saying in that reaction that, well, no, because everything we've seen of the Atlas military in previous volumes suggests that they are nowhere near as effective, in some circumstances, as they think they are. And I think, you know, this is one of your early hints of that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, and of course what happens later in this volume. But yeah, just a quick point that I think is worth making. 3, 2, 1, resume.
Our Mercury put on a wonderful show. He was quite brave.
These things aren't exactly cheap, you know.
So what's next?
You and I will ensure that our next matchup goes just as smoothly.
What about me?
You get to lay low until the end. We wouldn't want people to see you on your feet and have this all be for naught now, would we?
Can do.
Oh, is that chapter 8? Chapter 7 then? Over and done with? I assume so. The timer on the thing has stopped. That's weird. It's not even gone to credits or anything. I don't know what VLC Media Player is doing, but it's just being a bit weird. Okay, right, let's have a jump cut here and get some final thoughts in a moment. Right, well, I hope the lighting, by the way, isn't too distracting on this webcam. It's not even midday here in the UK as of when I record this. In fact, it's not even 11 o'clock yet. It's 5 minutes to 11, technically. And it is a really grey, cloudy day, and it's kind of dark outside. So I'm hoping it doesn't negatively affect the visual quality, but I have a feeling it is going to, because just looking at it on my screen, it looks so grainy, and I don't know. Yeah, I think that's just the lighting. I'm sorry if it's like that, ladies and gentlemen, but it's that time of year. There's not a lot really I can do about that. Unless I'm just wondering what it would look like if I closed my blinds and maybe turn my light on. God damn, the webcam can't decide how bright or dark it is in my room right now. But yeah, right, well, enough about that. So, this chapter, of course, has a really intense and quite dark atmosphere to it, as you all saw just then. And like I say, you know, if chapter 6 is sort of marking the moment when the tonal shift in RWBY really starts to occur, then this episode is the one that really then actually solidifies, I think, that tonal shift in just, you know, in terms of the way it plays out. Like, watching that whole fight sequence between Amber and Cinder, Mercury and Emerald is, you know, intense as always. And again, I was sort of very much enraptured, even though I know how it's going to play out. But yeah, I mean, that's another fight sequence really that I would probably say is just a really standout one. I know I say that for a lot of RWBY's fight sequences, and, you know, I may have to do, like I say, a video at some point where I say, like, rank my top 10 favourite RWBY fight sequences or something like that. And so I'm wondering, would this be potentially in there? I mean, it's a really good fight sequence, it's just very intense, and I think what makes it really intense is not just the sort of, I use the term choreography, even though that's not technically the right word, because choreography is a dance term, but you know what I mean. It's that, the way that the fight sequences have been put together in terms of the characters' movements in time with the music and things like that. But it's also, I think, the fact that, you know, story-wise, you know what this fight sequence represents, because of course chapter 6 has established the Maidens. It's shown you the state that Amber is in as a result of this fight sequence, so you know how this fight sequence is going to play out. You know it's going to be bad, but even so it's still quite tense as a result, and you're still thinking, oh god, I really want this this girl to get through this okay, even though you know she's not going to. So yeah, I think that for me is just the big thing out of this. Yeah, I don't know where this fight sequence rather would necessarily sit alongside other ones that we've seen over the franchise as a whole, but that's probably why I have to do a video ranking my top 10 favourites and all that, which is why, you know, rewatching these early volumes is actually really good. Not just for the sake of doing a retrospective Let's Watch, but also potentially, you know, it's preparation for doing some, you know, further RWBY discussion content later down the line and all that. But yeah, so I think overall it's a good fight sequence in essence. And like I say, you know, the reason Crow, you know, you'd think, would he recognise Cinder, Mercury and Emerald after technically, you know, rescuing Amber and all that, but as you saw, Emerald does that thing where she uses her illusion semblance and she makes Cinder's face kind of shimmer so he can't actually see it. But yeah, I mean, this episode is also actually quite important because it really establishes the fact that Emerald's semblance, you know, you think is quite a powerful one. The fact that she can kind of cast these illusions which can effectively, you know, prevent people from seeing things, that kind of thing. And you think, you know, that's a pretty powerful semblance to have in a fight. You can basically, like, just hide yourself or something from your adversary and completely lure them into a trap. And, you know, you'd think that would make her quite OP in that sense. So it's good, actually, that, you know, the franchise does establish that, no, Emerald Semblance is not OP. There is actually a limit to it, because it is actually a really strenuous semblance. It's actually quite taxing on her to be able to do it, especially if she's doing it to more than one person in a row. Because obviously, you know, so far in this volume, she's done it to Coco, and then, of course, she's done it to Yang. And, spoilers, of course, in you know, another couple of episodes, she's going to be doing it to Pyrrha as well. So, like I say, you know, as she mentioned there, it gives her a headache. So it affects her, you know, her health, in essence, the more and more she does it. So she has to, obviously, I presume, have kind of gaps between using it so that it doesn't kind of overwhelm her. So yeah, it's been very sort of useful just for setting that up too, in essence, this episode. What else is kind of interesting coming out of this one? I mean, it's also just interesting in more of like a background lore sense, just for establishing how, you know, Cinder's team essentially formed together and all that. Like I said, you know, I mean, I had my pause moment during the episode there where I talked about Cinder and Emerald's relationship and why is it that, you know, someone like Emerald, who you think would just be a thief who, you know, wouldn't really give a damn about the state of the world or trying to take it down, someone who'd be more concentrated on just, you know, trying to survive. Why would she sort of throw her lot in with Cinder and stay with her? Well, again, I think it comes back to the fact that Cinder is kind of, you know, the abusive partner, to put it that way. She offers a carrot, but she also offers a stick that effectively compels Emerald to stay with her. And also, you know, it's the fact that Emerald is a thief and, as I put it, you know, so crudely earlier, a bit of a street rat. You know, I always sort of assumed that Emerald was meant to be someone homeless, kind of. I don't know why, though, because I don't think I've ever actually seen any material that says that, so I don't know why I've always assumed that, but it might not even be true. But yeah, she's a thief at the very least. So, you know, she's someone who's probably already in quite a vulnerable position in that she's a lawbreaker, and therefore, you know, she is, like I say, in quite a vulnerable position because at any moment she could be, you know, in trouble with the authorities, and therefore Cinder perhaps just offers that protection, or is perceived to offer that protection, to Emerald, hence why Emerald you know, sticks with her for so long, notwithstanding, of course, that in Volume 8 she defects and all that. So, yeah, I mean, those are really the main things coming out of this this particular chapter. There's not really much else for me to talk about because this one, obviously, like I say, is focused very much on Cinder and company, and not much else, in essence. But, you know, we've got the foreshadowing at the end there that Cinder and Emerald are going to be very much manipulating another match. We know exactly which match that's going to be. We know what's coming up at the end of this volume and the absolute shit show that's going to result from that. So, yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else that is worth mentioning at this stage? I'm not entirely sure if there is. But yeah, I think what I might do then is wrap up here and we'll get to my reaction to Chapter 8 in the next episode. And yeah, looking at time, notwithstanding the current lighting issue, I think I will have a go at recording Chapter 8 as well, this recording session. Because like I say, that way, that means that I've got at least 2 episodes of this that will go out in January, which just gives me more time and breathing space when I get back down to my apartment after visiting friends and family over Christmas. Just gives me time to then start recording some more RWBY reaction episodes, just to ensure that, you know, the schedule is flowing along as normal. But yeah, so that means that we won't be finishing Volume 3 until sometime in early 2026, and then of course we'll do obviously any supplementary material that's left on this DVD copy, and then we'll get into Volume 4, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, at that point we'll be 3/4 of the way through this the non-blind retrospective Let's Watch and all that, so that's going to be good. Yeah, it's funny because you know, this series has been running now for a few months at the very least, and you know, that's quite a while, but it feels like it's really flown by to me, in all honesty. It feels like time's gone by really, really fast. I mean, partly that's because obviously, you know, I have a full-time job and all that, and that takes a lot of my time as well, and that, you know, has just flown by. So yeah, wow, what can I say? Yeah, but that's basically what's going to happen over, you know, into early January and all that. So yeah, like I say, this is recorded way in advance, but early January is when this goes out. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had, you know, a good New Year's. I hope it was nice and relaxing. I hope Christmas was relaxing as well for you. And I hope that you had a nice, good time and all that with friends or family or whoever. So yeah, you know, let's you know, keep going, keep climbing ahead, ladies and gentlemen. As always, do keep sort of reminding me in the comments of reaction content related to RWBY that I can do, things that I should try and react to and watch, things like that. I know people have done that before, and what I really need to do is I need to find one of those lists of suggested content people have made, and I need to copy and paste it into a Word document, so I've actually got it there in front of me and I can tick things off as I go along. But yeah, if you know, as always, please do keep leaving that list and those suggestions, because it is very helpful for me. But yeah, I can't keep asking people to do that. They've been doing it so often. Alright, well, yeah, let's wrap up here then, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you once again for joining me. Join me when I do my Chapter 8 reaction, which I'm going to record straight after this one. And yeah, I'll see you then, ladies and gentlemen. So, goodbye everybody.